Oh yeah, I saw Shazam, Fury of the Gods, some time ago actually. Yeah, my reviewing it wouldn't have done any good. So, yeah. Even though it's not that bad of a movie, it's not. It is now number-wise the worst performing of the DCEU films. Despite the fact that the absolute worst of those was easily Wonder Woman 84, and at the very bottom, Birds of Prey. Just awful, awful garbage. Fury of the Gods is way above that. Way above it. But it's not as good as the first one. That it's got some stupid stumbles in it, but all in all, yeah, it's not that bad. There's inconsistencies still where Zachary Levi plays Shazam, a bit more childlike than the actor who plays Billy Batson, and that's largely true of even the first film. So it's a little odd, but yeah, it doesn't bother me as much as it is a truth, but it's not enough to tell me, well, this is crap, so can't take it anymore. No. So basically, I'll go through, a roundabout way of the plot, and then overall things that doomed the film, that the film could do nothing about. But it could have done a lot for itself. But nevertheless, anyway, the plot's very simple, and even from the trailer, you could kind of guess what the deal is. So they give you a bit of a show of the Marvel the Shazam family, yeah. The Shazamly, giggle tee hee. And they perform these great wonders of rescue. They're not very good at it, but they get the job done and all that. Then we cut to these mysterious women who show up and steal an ancient relic. This is the staff of Shazam, the real Shazam, the wizard. And turns out they're the daughters of the ancient gods. The gods whose power or essence or both, whatever, forms the base for the powers of the Shazamly, and they steal it and turn everybody to stone. We tried to stop them from this museum, and now they want to use it to regain the powers that they feel is their birthright, because, well, I guess they got a point, So during this, we discover the wizard Shazam is still alive, and they've captured him, these three sisters. So you have Helen Mirren, who's always good and excellent. She just never lets you down. There's Lucy Liu, and then the youngest is an actress. I don't recall her name, but anyway, there you go. I can't even remember which daughters were the actual mythological characters, or they just made them up for the movie, because there's they got the Fates. Then there's the Graces, but there was more than three of those. So the Fates were three, but it seems like there was oh boy, this is embarrassing. I'm blanking on the Greek mythology and all that. But anyway, I don't know if they were any of them, but what have you. That's the deal. Now, the wizard Shazam died in the previous movie. Oh, well, there's a possible explanation for this that it's not really the fault of the movie, but of Warner Brothers and the direction they were going. But that might not have been the deal either. Shazam does appear in the comics alive again, even though he died in the original story after the big rock fell on him. That's how it happened in the comics. But I always took it to mean like his spirit lived on or something like that. And I thought, oh, maybe he's a captured spirit. But no, he's in the flesh. There he is. So they taunt him, but he manages to get a piece of the staff and is able to use it to contact Billy. And that's where you get the rumored dream sequence of Billy on a date with Wonder Woman. but instead you only see her from behind, and then when you see her face, it's actually the wizard's face talking to him, telling him to wake up because he was dreaming. Tee-hee. But don't fret, there is another actual cameo of Wonder Woman in the movie. So he's warned, and then they start getting attacked by the sisters. With the staff, they have the ability to take the powers away. So just about, eventually all of them lose their powers. They get stolen from them, and only Billy is left with his powers, and he has to make the ultimate sacrifice and dies. But don't worry, Wonder Woman comes at the end to bring him back to life. It looks like the effects get really cheap looking, like they just did it all in the green screen room. And I don't even know if Gal Gadot was even really in it. Maybe they CGI'd her face. There's the scenes of the double, who bears a fairly decent resemblance. But they may have just CGI'd her on there. I don't know. I don't recall Gal Gadot doing any promotion for it or anything, because this is after the gun takeover, so yeah, probably not feeling so great about all that. And it's just very tacked on and rather cheesy. The wizard puts on normal clothes, more or less, and says he's going out to have a good time, and that's great. So yeah, it kind of fizzles after that, but for the most part, they have their mission to do. There's an odd thing where the youngest of the sisters puts the moves on Freddy, and that's part of their plan to take them down, I guess. But then she actually does develop feelings for him, even though he's a teenage boy and she's over 1,000 years old or whatever, but still very much in her teenage form. So I don't know, but anyway. So she ends up deciding she doesn't want to do this, and ultimately even the Helen Mirren character decided this is going too far. But Lucy Liu, the hell with that, so she takes down her sisters and wants the power for herself and all this stuff, and has her flying dragon. They have a lot of mythological monsters come to life and attack the city. They got to deal with that. There's a cameo from the original Billy Batson from the old Saturday morning TV show. And he actually calls Shazam Captain Marvel. So he got in there some kind of way, Couldn't think up a name for him. Yeah. So anyway, that's the deal. There's a lot of stupid here and there, but there's, for the most part, I've seen far worse do much better. But a lot of things were against it. So, right off the bat, of course, James Gunn announcing that basically there'll be a full-on reboot except for Peacemaker. Yeah, it's funny how that works out. And everything else, no Henry Cavill and all that stuff. And so it's like, well, why bother with these movies? They're not going anywhere. There is a teaser where, oddly enough, Shazam meets with James Gunn's wife, who plays a character in the Peacemaker series. And she made an appearance in Black Adam. And they're recruiting him to be a part of the Justice Society. Will there be a Justice Society going forward? I don't know. Pretty dubious, but I suppose they could throw one in there. But that's connecting it to the Black Adam movie very weakly, but because that's part of the scuttlebutt that Dwayne Johnson didn't want to appear in the Shazam movie. He should have. He is a Shazam character, and if that's true, that he's the reason behind that, that's just wrong. And really, this would have been bolstered if it had been a Shazam versus Black Adam movie, introducing his character that way. And you still could have had the goddesses in there and, this sort of thing, and fleshed that out more. Because the Black Adam movie had a lot of opportunities of utilizing the overall narrative of the characters of the Justice Society, especially Hawkman and Dr. Fate, where you could have said it in the past, where you had Naboo and Hawkman, because he reincarnates all the time, and so he could have been a part of that whole story. No, I didn't do that. Here, could have fleshed out a lot more, certainly about the wizard, whom I thought should have been a spirit, but it's possible, and it's just possible, that it's certainly the explanation for their costumes being different was the director said, yeah, that's because the Shazam movie was supposed to come after The Flash, and that this would be a nod to the fact that the universe had changed. Some things had stayed pretty much the same, but it had been altered because of what The Flash did, so their costumes looked different. That was the deal. There's no explanation for the costumes being different within the narrative of the movie. But it could have been, and so if that's the case, which the director said it was, then perhaps the deal with the wizard is that he didn't die. So he's still alive. But they made reference to him fading away, but it meant something else, perhaps. He just faded away, because his mission was done, and he was going to go, I don't know, take a vacation like he does at the end of the movie, and then, but the evil sisters caught him. Well, maybe so. So, but that's the deal. That ultimately, the first film was made on the cheap, and it was really good, and it did well, so it didn't lose any money. And so this one, they spent a little bit more money, but it cost them. And this is not a character that was as popular as, like, obviously Batman or Superman, and so it's got that struggle still going for it. But at the same time, the overall shared universe narrative was disrupted by the announcement of, well, after Aquaman, this is it. It's done. So it's like the Flash is the one that has a shot at making them some serious cash because of the excitement concerning Michael Keaton appearing in it, and banking on that to sell the show. But after that, there's really nothing else. Blue Beetle looks like a pretty standard superhero movie, but it struggles from the fact that its character is not well known, and that's an uphill battle for that little film. But who knows? Stranger things have happened. Maybe it can do well. But that's the problem for Shazam, not the story in and of itself, but it doesn't take full advantage of the elements that are there. So you couldn't have Black Adam, but you did have a cameo from Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman could have played a more serious role in it. But there again, if you're not taking this, they weren't really taking their shared universe very seriously. They didn't plan it out very well, and they've already announced it's over. So, but at the time, Wonder Woman and Shazam, they share this connection to ancient myths and stuff like that, and with gods and goddesses, and that could have played far more significant a role in there, that they could have weaved that in and could have given it a boost, except of course Wonder Woman's sequel didn't do so great, so there's that to consider, I guess. But they never even intended, so they just let's put a cameo in there. So it's unfortunate, it's too bad, and any return to Shazam will of course be completely recast at some time down the road. The odds that they would get a third film weren't so great in the first place, and with all the mess up with Black Adam and all that, to expand on a Shazam-verse, which should have been the goal of someone like Dwayne Johnson, instead of, I'm going to take over the whole DCEU and all that stuff. It's, just another example of a lot of missed opportunities, but still was going to be a struggle for characters that just aren't as popular or well known by your overall movie audience as the likes of Superman and Batman. So a lot of odds against it, compounded by circumstance in a lot of ways, and it's unfortunate, but that's how the lightning struck.